Could you just tell me a little bit about you, about your background, where you were born, where you were raised, what brought you to America?
So I was born and raised in a city called Bangalore in Karnataka, South India. And for most part, I lived there until I was 25. I moved to US in August 2016. I moved here for my master's my master's education. And then I graduated in December 2018, and I've been working here for Intel since. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Tell me about your 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 childhood and your teenage years. Did you exercise a lot? Did you eat whatever you wanted? What was kind of your lifestyle like?
So I would say I was not very active. I was more of like I used to be active on a daily basis, but I didn't play a lot of sports. And eating style habits were mostly just predominantly Indian food, eating at home. I did not eat a whole lot of junk food as well. I was just eating like just regular food, but I was just eating a lot of it. So I there were times when I was, as you would say, average body, and I think during the last between 2014 to 2016, I ended up adding a lot of weights. Like I just ended up adding a lot of weight. So it might have been due to me getting a disease called dengue, and then which resulted in a lot of weight loss. And then I immediately just added on the weight once I was cured of it.
Did you change anything about your lifestyle? Were you eating more or being more sedentary, or is it just the pounds just came on?
Oh yeah, the pounds just came on. So it wasn't any change per se in how I was. It just happened. And as I said, it might have been at a point where I was just eating a lot more as well. So because unaware, because I actually lost a lot of weight when I had the disease. So I was just unaware and I was just eating a whole lot. That could have added on to that as well.
Okay. So 2014, how old were you?
Um, I was around 20, 23.
Okay, so early 20s.
Yeah.
And how much weight did you gain?
Uh, I went from actually, we measure everything in kilos over there. My lowest was around 160 pounds over there. And so I went from roughly around 160 to 165 to almost like over 230 to 40 pounds. And I was around 230 pounds in December 2015. So I ended up adding on significant weight. I didn't measure my weight after that because I was very scared and like just to see the numbers. So yeah.
So you got up to 230 pounds. And
Hmm.
how tall are you?
I am 5'10".
Did you look bigger than, the average person?
Oh yeah, I definitely look bigger than the average person, but I don't think uh, I was very unhappy with it in a way. Like the only time it used to bother me was when I saw myself in the mirror, which I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to as well. Like I spent probably 2-3 minutes in the mirror in front of the mirror every day back then. So it didn't affect me a whole lot. But after I like there was just this one day where I just went up in front of the mirror and just stood there and I was like not very happy with the entire process of how it looked. So it's the first time I felt fat, but I didn't do a whole lot of changes after that because I was focused on moving to this country here. So there were a lot of things that are happening simultaneously. So I didn't pay a lot of attention to it then. And then I moved here, and just due to the nature of how it is a student, it's like you don't get time to eat enough and you're doing all this stuff on your own. So I ended up losing significant weight, and I came down to like roughly around 190 something.
Were you ever self-conscious at all about the way you looked?
I was, but as I said, like I was busy with other things. So I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it, and I was closeted back in India, so I was not involved in the gay community. I didn't know what was happening, and when I moved here, it was my first experience here on Grinder and all these other apps, and that's when I started feeling very conscious about my body because there was like you see most people here are like at least in the gay community people there's this certain body standard or things that are conceived or perceived attractive. So that was the first time when I just actually started hating myself for how fat I've become, more to say, because before that it was like, yeah, I'm a bit fat but it's okay. I was in that moment where I was like, okay, it's okay. But later on here I was just like, yeah, it's not okay. This is disgusting. It just when I it just felt a lot of self-hate from it. So yeah.
But do you think that was because of the pressure of social media, of Grindr, of if you weren't involved in that at all, do you think you would still have that negative stigma about yourself?
I mean, I think so because, as I said, like after I started feeling fat, and even without that as well, like even if it's not Grinder, there's like all the other media or anywhere else you just see, right? It's like there's so much of fantasization over being like ripped or being having that flat tummy and being muscular, right? So I think it would have creeped in some way or the other. It's just the Grinder was one of the ways where it just hit hard in a sense. And like you have all these, it's like every media you see actually these days. It's like everywhere an attractive man is considered to be someone who's like really chiseled. You don't see a person who's like, just an average bodied guy being out there saying, okay, yeah, this dude is attractive. It's like I think it's happening more in over the last year. But before that, and even last year as well, we still fantasize about people who are like, it's like we just worship rather of people who are like all these, like Greek gods who are just sculpted really well. So I think it would have happened irrespective of which media it was from, but it would have gone ahead and left with me feeling hate about myself for where I was.
That's interesting. Man, you were dealing with a lot. New country. You said you came out of the closet here.
Yes.
Is that because in India, what's the view on LGBTQ issues in India? Are they pretty conservative?
Oh, yeah. So I think up until 2 years ago, you could be gay, but you could be punished if you were caught engaging in any homosexual activity.
Like punished how? By the law?
Yeah, by law. Yes. So there was like fines and there was imprisonment was also in the like this is something you could look at as well. So it ranged anywhere from like minor fines to imprisonment. So it was kind of it wasn't a very gay friendly place.
Man.
And I think they overturned that law a few years ago, and that was after I moved to US, wherein you can't be punished for engaging in any homosexual activities. So that's a step towards progress. But yeah, and even otherwise, India in most ways is a very conservative country, and I don't think the people accept homosexuals as openly. Like at least the newer generations are more open to it, but none of the older generations are more open to it. It's not something that you can just live with without having any repercussions. Like people are going to treat you different if they know you're a homosexual guy.
Boy, so did you ever have a boyfriend or did you date over there at all?
Oh no.
Never. Did you ever even date women? Just to
no,
nothing.
No, nothing. So I was just I was in a place where I was like completely depressed because I was not able to come to terms with my sexuality. There's so much involved from the country itself because like you're raised in these Orthodox households, right? And you have this stupid like perception that what you're doing is wrong. So it takes time to get to terms with that. And I think I was able to do that after I moved here because I was not surrounded with the same people. And like here, being gay was more accepted in a way. So it helped me come out of, yeah.
You come to America, you can finally come out of the closet. You start, going on to Grindr, and you start to feel bad about yourself or how you look. So what do you, and was that 2016?
2016, I was still going ahead and just figuring things out, but I think it hit me hard in December 2017.
Okay.
So that's when it just hit me. I was like, yeah, I'm really fat. And, it's like, I'm not like those people on like Grindr, So it just hit me. That's when it just hit me. And I was new to Instagram as well. So I was like seeing all these like models and everyone, like there's so much of, like most posts you see on Instagram, even when you're looking for fitness stuff or whatever you're looking for, is always these really chiseled muscle dudes who are like, who are there for advertising anything and everything. So, yeah.
So did you want to get ripped, become like them so that guys would like you so that you could date, or was it more to to look like everybody else, or was it more to be healthy for yourself? A combination? What was the internal battle in your mind?
So one, it's because I actually had a lot of fatigue even by doing normal stuff. Like if I had to walk a mile, it would take time, and like it would also take a lot of toll on me physically. Like I wouldn't be in a position where I'm like, yeah, you know what, it's just 1 mile, let's just walk. So I didn't like that. So I actually want to do it from a point where I actually want to be more healthy. And I also want to go ahead, look better, fit my clothes better. And end of the day, I also want to go ahead and be a prospect and see if this helped my dating life as well. So I would say it was a mix of everything, but dating aspect of it was probably the least of my concerns. It was more of me going ahead and not feeling so shitty about myself itself.
So it wasn't, I got to find a hot man. It was more, I want to feel better about myself.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, but did you see an increase in dating potential? Have you over the past 2 years?
Dating potential, no. Hookup potential, yes. So yeah, it's like, I mean, I think that's the same story with any gay community at this point, wherein like it's easier to get hookups than to date someone. So
how many hookup requests do you get a week or a month?
I would say at least 4 to 5 a day.
4 to 5 a day?
Yeah. And that's also another thing, right? Like you're doing so much other work. Yeah, you're busy with your own life. You're like, yeah, I can't keep hooking up with anyone and everyone. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. So yeah.
So do you think if you had the same body type you did 3 or 4 years ago, you'd be getting 4 to 5 hookup requests a day?
Possibly, because that's pretty much how it's been. Like I've been relatively fit for the last over 2 years now, and at least for the last year or so, I've been getting those requests. Like I've been on and off of Grindr since, but for the last year, I've consistently been on Grindr, and that's pretty much how I see. It's like I at least get like 4 requests a day saying, "Do you want to hook up?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good." But yeah.
Were you expecting all that when you signed up for Grindr?
I mean, from a point of, I mean, there's so much of muscle mania kind of a thing here where like everyone is just so obsessed with muscles. I was expecting at least like 2 or 3 people to hit me up, but sometimes I get a lot more people hitting me up, and sometimes I get like a lot less. So it's like on an average, I would say 4 to 5 people a day is how it is. It's not something way off from what I expected.
You're obviously getting the attention of others, but when you changed, tell me what you did back in 2018 when you're like, I'm overweight, I can't walk a mile without getting out of breath. What steps did you start to take to
So I just wanted to go to the gym regularly at first. So for the first 2 weeks, I just made sure that I'm going to the gym regularly, at least 3 to 4 times a week. And then I started moving into eating, at least one healthy meal a day. And by like, I would say mid-February, I had come to a point where I was like eating only healthy meals every day. And I was incredibly conscious of what I'm putting into my body. And I think I was like even counting the veggies I eat, like how much weight veggies I'm eating. Like I'm eating like 200 grams of carrots, 100 grams of broccoli. So I'm weighing everything, I'm adding up the calories, and I'm making sure I'm in a caloric deficit. And I felt incredibly guilty if I ate, like, say, if I had 2 chips. I felt very guilty about it. And I'm like, that shouldn't be the thing. But at that point, it's just like, you know what, I'm seeing some results, I'm losing a lot of weight, let's keep doing this. So I kept doing that until like July 2018. And for like, I think 6 months, I had lost, like I had gone from 190 something pounds, and I had hit a 137 pounds. Like that was the lowest I had gone to. And like when I looked at myself in the mirror, then again I was like, this is not how I want to be either. It's like I look really skinny. So yeah,
you lost 60 pounds in 6 months.
Yeah.
Wow. But you were getting skin. It wasn't like you were getting ripped. You were getting real skinny, or both, ripped and skinny.
Yeah, I was getting ripped and skinny. But as I said, it's like when I was eating so little. Like now, if I think of it, I would say I was eating like probably around 1,200 something calories a day, and I was burning like 2,000 odd calories a day. So I was like, I was almost in a 1,000 calorie deficit. So I had no energy to do anything. I had like zero motivation to do anything. Sometimes it just felt like I'm just doing a whole lot of chores, like just going about everyday life. It just felt like I'm doing a whole lot of chores. But I didn't want to go ahead and like give up on it. And every time I just saw myself in the mirror, I was like, you know what? You still have that last bit of fat. So let's get rid of that. So it was like, yeah, I still see some love handles. I still see fat here. It's like, I was like kind of nitpicking at my own body, just saying, you know what? If you're in deficit for another month, you're going to go ahead and lose that fat as well.
And you'd feel guilty about eating 2 chips.
Yeah. So there were times when I was like, nope. So I have actually gone ahead and I missed eating out with friends. I missed doing stuff with friends and like even hanging out, like at home, even for drink or whatnot. I've been like, I was the guy who was holding a bottle of water and he's like, you know what, I'm good with water. So yeah.
So it sounds like Madhu, that you've kind of gone from average, overweight, pudgy, lost all this weight, and then wanted to become buff and ripped, got really skinny. Would you say that it became an obsession for you?
I would say it still is an obsession with me. So yes, it's not like I've gotten over it completely. I'm trying to get over it, but it still is an obsession. So whenever I see a bit of extra, like if my abs are not popping like how they are, like if I think like it could have been water retention. There are a number of things that actually happen. So it could have been water retention. I might have had a lot more salt the previous day, which caused the water retention. But if I see that I look a bit puffy or if my abs are less defined, it goes ahead and starts interfering with how I think. I'm like, you know what, I become fat. I need to eat much lesser now. So I'm not like, even if it's in the way of me trying to build muscles, if I just see that extra bit of fat adding on, I'm like, yeah, I've grown fat, and I get very obsessive over it, and I immediately go into deficit, and then I'm in deficit for the next 2 weeks again. So to this day, I'm still doing the same things. And
you're still counting calories and weighing all your food and
yep.
And how often do you work out?
I work out every day, and if I don't go into like the gym, I feel incredibly guilty about it. So I get to a point where I'm like, yeah, you know what, I didn't burn as many calories today, I didn't work out today, and I'm probably going to lose all my progress that I made over the last few years. So I feel very guilty. So like last night, I actually went to the gym like really late at night. I think I went like around 9 p.m. and I got out at like 11 p.m. and I was like, I got something in, so I don't feel as guilty anymore. So that's pretty much how it was.
How many calories a day do you eat?
I burn, according to what I eat, on an average, I end up eating like 2,400, 2,500 calories a day. But that's the thing, right? So it's like, if I eat anything more, even like a bit, I get that's because my base caloric rate right now is around 2,500 calories. And if I eat anything more, at that point, I get very anxious about it. And I just hit the gym and I go really hard at the gym. So I end up going ahead eating in deficit again. So if I eat a cookie today, I'm very aware of it, and I end up compensating for it for today, tomorrow, and the day after.
So is it just easier for you just to avoid the cookies? And
yes. So I'm like, I try to avoid it, and it's like I also have sweet tooth. Like I'm a foodie guy. Like I like food, so I'm very conscious of it, and it's kind of like a tug of war every day. So it's like in the morning, I'm like, you know what, the day is starting now. I can control it for the rest of the day. And then as evening progresses, I'm like, you know, I can't eat now anymore. I get very tense about it. I'll be like, yeah, I can't have my dinner anymore. So let me go to the gym, burn all those extra calories off. So I go to the gym, I end up burning like close to around 1,000 calories. I spend like 3 hours at the gym. And then I'm like, okay, you know what? I think I made even today. So today is fine. So I'm okay with what I ate today. So
it seems like you're always thinking about it, or at least most of the day. Mm-hmm. So I want to show you this photo of you.
Yep.
Is there anything wrong with you in that photo? Because you look pretty perfect.
Yeah. So actually right near the towel, I actually see a lot of loose skin, which I'm not sure is loose skin or fat.
Right here?
Yeah.
That looks like abs to me.
it's like the underside of it. So that's one place I've been always conscious of. So I think that's like, it's like, it kind of looks very pudgy there. That is one thing. And interesting is also one of the few times I was like, you know what, let's put up a shirtless selfie. It's been a while.
So
And
you realize
so
though, that, like to
like right here. So see,
see
to me, that's very, so
you
like right here.
you want to work on that area, and to me,
Yeah.
I'd give anything to look like that. I mean,
So I mean, yeah, that's how it was for me when I started off, right? Like if I spoke to the guy I was when I started off, I'd be so happy in my body right now. But over time, I just realized that no matter what I try, I'm not happy at all. Like I'm like, there's like my arms are too small, my shoulders too small, it's like I have some fat around my abdomen, my love handles are coming back, and it's like technically it's all loose skin kind of a thing. But I'm just like so conscious about it. I'm like, yeah, this is not enough. I need to do more on this area, and this is not enough. I need to do more on this area. So for me, it's like my legs, my shoulders, my arms. I'm like, I need to work on these. These are something that's very important to me. And same thing with the abs. If they lose even a little bit of definition, I freak out. I'm like, I'm fat. I'm growing fat. I'm getting pudgy again. And it's just all of those feelings that come in. And then like, I'm up all night, like at least until like 2, 3, just thinking about that. I'm like, how do I fix this?
how much do you weigh?
Right now I weigh between 150 to 155. So it fluctuates, like on a good day, like 150, and sometimes it's like 155. So it depends on like what attention, what's happened the previous day, what I had food and stuff like that. Yeah.
Do you know your body fat percentage?
I used to measure it every week, and over the last month, I haven't. So I used to measure it like every day and then average it out for a week just to get a consistent body fat number. Yeah. So going by how I look in the pics, I would say I'm somewhere at around 15 or 16% body fat. So yeah.
And you weigh yourself every day?
Yes.
Are you happy?
In some ways, yes, and in some ways, no. I would say that. So it's like, I'm happy doing all these things that my body is letting me do. But when I stand in front of the mirror, I'm not happy. It's like getting to a point where I'm fit has enabled me to do a whole lot of new things. Like I got into hiking, I'm able to run now, which feels good. And like I've gotten physically a lot more stronger. Like I'm able to lift much more heavier weights. I don't feel as restless, like as tired anymore. And that's all good. But when I see myself in the mirror, all I'm like looking at is, oh yeah, you have fat there. You need to work on this. It's like when I get in front of the mirror, I hate myself. I'm like, this is a flaw. Like everything around here is like, there's so many things I have to do. Like at one point, I even consider getting a surgery just to remove that extra layer of loose skin or fat, whatever it is. I just like, should I just go out and do something that way? There are times when I thought about it. I'm not lie about it, and it's like, but then I'm also like, yeah, no, let's just like wait and see. Let's just wait and see. Probably you'll fill it in. Like over time, it's gonna get better. So,
would you consider yourself handsome or attractive?
No.
Do you understand that other women and men might look at you and say, he is an attractive guy?
Yes. So like I've actually had conversations with my friends about this. So they've actually said that, you're an attractive guy. So you need to be a bit more open and accepting of it. So if someone gives me a compliment, my first reaction right then and there is, thank you, you're very kind, but I just think I'm average. And that's pretty much my response to like most people. Like I'm not even lying about it. So
what would you say to people watching that are like, well, I want to look like that, but I don't want it to become an obsession. I don't want to go to the gym for 4 hours a day, and I don't want to worry if I want to have a cookie. I want to have balance. I guess that's something you're trying to work with.
Yeah. That's pretty much what I'm trying to get to at a point. I would just say this. For most part of this, everything that actually influenced me was like, how I perceive attractiveness to be. So firstly, get to a point where you're like comfortable with it. Define your goals and then just stick to the goal. So you don't want to go ahead and over push it. Like every time I see, I'm like, I can be better. I can be better. It's like you just have this mentality where you just keep thinking you can be better at a point and prioritize other things in life. Like I think if I have gone ahead and if I had stopped myself from obsessing over all these six packs and spend more time with people I care about and surround yourself with people you care about as well. Like it helps. Like I live alone right now and I shunned out everyone else when I got into this fitness thing. And I think that's pretty much what pushed me further deep down into this, So
Interesting.
hang out with people a lot more and it's okay. Like if you eat that cookie, just don't be so mindful of what you put in. Like everyone, all your apps, like your fitness apps and everything, like you can be MyFitnessPal or your Fitbit, all of these apps, go ahead and keep saying or reminding you that you've had more than what you can be eating. So it's like get off those apps and once in a while just cut loose. It's fine. And just make it a habit since day one, because once you get to a point where I am, you're just thinking about how this is affecting you and how it's making you look. You're not worried about whether you're enjoying the food. You're not worried about like what you're getting away from this entire process. Like at one point to me, it was just proving something to myself. But after a point, just became obsession. So you don't have to prove anything to yourself. Just be happy with who you are.
Do you think, Madhu, that you'd ever go to a counselor? Do you think you need to go see a therapist? Because it sounds like it's more of a mental thing than a body thing.
It possibly is. And it possibly is something that I am looking at. And right now, I am trying to see if there's something I can work on myself. But push comes to shove, yeah, I might have to go see a therapist for this.
I'm not saying you have to. I know that.
Oh, no. I'm actually being very honest. I'm actually looking into BetterHelp and all the other apps as well, because like, let's face it, therapy is a bit expensive. You want to go ahead and be able to afford it. So
different people can become addicted to different things. Not that it's good to have an addiction, but your addiction could be this, others could be alcohol, others could be sex. I mean, whatever it is, that could be it. Do you think that this affects gay men more?
Yes.
And why?
Like, I mean, as I said, everyone is just so obsessed with having this like entire six pack, for example. Like half the people who actually hit me up asking to hook up are people who are like, not in that body type specifically, or people who are in the body type and who will only hook up with people who look similarly. So there's this complete, it's like you see anything related to this gay personality, it's like even all your shows and everything, there's this very flamboyant guy, but who's also super rich. So there's this entire fantasy over just having six pack, which makes it very unhealthy.
But are those the type of guys you like?
No. So it's like any person I've dated so far has not been a guy who looks like me. I'm like, I don't want to deal with another guy who goes through the same thing in his head. Like how much, like, I know this can be physically exhausting sometimes, because when you're trying to find a relationship, the other person should also be okay with someone who is like so obsessed about what he eats and what he does. Right. So I don't want someone who's like going ahead and just like, I don't want to deal with the same person again. Like I don't like who I am when I get into that zone. So I don't want to be another person who's just like that.
Interesting. So you turn away because you know what it's like because you've been there.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you might want to add or say to the teenage boy watching, or the guy watching who's going through this?
I speak to a lot of guys, even people who are fit. They always have complaints about this stuff. They'll be like, I want to grow my chest. Like my chest is very small. And like, I don't work on my chest a whole lot. Like this is just genetic. So inherently, most people have some things that are good genetically. So don't stress about it if you don't have a big chest. Don't stress about it if your waist is still not at where it is, or if it's too wide. Don't stress about it. Just get to a point where you're functionally fit. And I think that's more important than obsessing whether you have a six-pack abs or not. And when you technically have a six-pack abs, it means that you have been eating consistently lesser than what you're burning every day. And in the long run, it all adds up and I just feel tired. Like I feel tired sometimes. It's like some days I'm just like, I have zero motivation or zero energy to do anything. I'm just tired because I've been trying to have, like, I had six packs for the last 2 years, but at what cost? So it really doesn't matter if you have a six pack abs or not. You just want to be functionally fit where you can enjoy life.
That's a good point. That's a great point. So, are you going out more? I mean, are you socializing more? Do you
I
feel better?
mean, with COVID, no.
Well, yeah, good point. Are you trying to date more? Like, are you in the brain space? You know, they always say, how can you love someone else if you can't love yourself? I mean,
Yeah.
do you feel like you're at that point?
I'm at a point where I'm still learning to love myself. So I would say I have definitely come a longer way, because previously, as I said, I was like measuring my body fat percentage on a daily basis. So I got to a point where I'm okay with not measuring it for the last month. So I think that's an improvement. And I'm spending significantly lesser time in front of the mirror, and that's also helped. And like, I'm not taking as many selfies. So I used to take selfies every single day after workout, every single day.
Would you post
I'm
them, or
not
would
kidding.
you would just keep them on your
Oh
phone?
no, I would just like, I would post them in stories like every single day. Like if I actually go back, so that's another thing. On social media as well, I wanted it to be a tool where it motivated me to hold myself accountable. But after a point, it became an obsession where I was just posting the same selfies in the same pose every single day. I'm getting over the social media addiction as well. And I'm also going ahead. And because I think that is one place that fuels your entire, like image of you.
Yeah.
Because the more engaged you are, the more you keep seeing people who look that way, you're going to be like, hey, yeah, he looks so much more better than me. Like he has wider hips, or he has wider shoulders. He has much better six pack. He has better obliques. He has better chest. So you start thinking that you can get them too. And you get frustrated at a point where you're like pushing yourself a whole lot, but you're not seeing any results, because that's pretty much how your genetic disposition is. And
Yeah.
have there been times when I thought, if I should go on steroids? Yes. But I've also been at a point I was like, you know what? This is not right. This is getting unhealthy, because my fundamental value into getting into fitness or getting fit was for me to do stuff and not get into those aspects of it. Like it's I don't judge people who do it, but it's not the thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been telling that to myself and holding myself off from trying any of those things.
It sounds like you're getting to a healthier spot in your life mentally.
Yeah.
The fact
Mm-hmm.
that you're kind of trying to get away from social media, which I think is a great thing. It's got to be, maybe not anymore, but in the beginning, was it a little flattering to have all these guys want to get with you 4 or 5 times a day? Like, hey,
Oh yeah. Like I'm gonna be honest, the attention I got when I first posted my shirtless pic, where I was like I had the six packs and everything, was huge. And I think that is pretty much what kept me hooked to this entire thing. Like the attention you get, it just gets to you, right? You just suddenly you're the spotlight, like you have the spotlight shining on you. You're very important, and all these people find you so attractive, and you get to a point where you're like, oh yeah, like I'm attractive, and it just gets to you. And after a point, you just realize how much is taken away from you.
yeah. I imagine you become numb to it because every photo you're getting the same reaction, right?
Yep. So at this point, I'm like, okay, yeah, thank you. Do you have anything more to say?